Hi everyone, this is Himanshu, and in this lecture, we will study more about the hypersonic missiles. Now, the hypersonic missiles, they travels at the Mach 5 or the higher. As I already told you that the Mach is basically the speed of sound. So it travels the 5 times the speed of sound. So, they typically consist of the supersonic combustion ramjet or the scramjet propulsion system. Now, when we say a ramjet engine, actually it means that it will collect the oxygen from atmosphere as it is traveling and mixes with its hydrogen fuel. So when the missile is launched, so it will collect that oxygen, and that oxygen will mix to the hydrogen fuel, and which will provide the additional thrust to the the propulsion system, and this will creating a combustion which is needed for the hypersonic travels. And the scramjet, on the other hand, is basically the same as this, but the only difference is that it is a supersonic ramjet, nothing else. So it's no different than ramjet, only is that it is a supersonic version of the ramjet. So this is main a difference between this thing. And India is developing actually a hypersonic technology demonstrator vehicle, which we call as the HSTDV, and it is basically an unmanned scramjet, and allowing the supersonic combustion demonstration vehicle that can cruise speed of Mach 6 and rise up to the altitude of 32 kilometers in 20 seconds, and it has been developed by the DRDO itself. So you can make it a point that the DRDO has made it. And actually there are two types of the hypersonic weapon delivery system. The one is basically what we call as a hypersonic cruise missile, and the another one what we call as the the hypersonic glide vehicle. So these are actually the two ones. It is not mentioned, but we can write it here that there are two versions for that. The first one is basically HCM, that we call the hypersonic cruise missile, and the second one is basically the HGV, that is hypersonic glide vehicles, which are actually the what we call as an output of this HSTDV demonstrator vehicle. And when we talk about the significance, they are the mix of the speed of a ballistic missile and the maneuvering capability of the cruise missile. The speed can be 550 miles per hour. That's pretty much huge. But the important point is that these things are not yet available to India. So only USA, Russia and China have the hypersonic missiles. And few of the examples for this is basically the Avangard. Now the Avangard is basically the Russia's hypersonic boost glide vehicle. Similarly, the Kinzhal is the another one, which is actually the Russia's, the hypersonic missile, and the Dongfang is basically the China's hypersonic missile. So this is mainly about the hypersonic missiles in India. Apart from that, the next one that we're going to talk about is about the artillery system, the artillery weapon system of India. Now, in the aftermath of the Kargil War of 1999, India announced its artillery rationalization program. Now, India has two fronts, as we know. The porous border, that is the 7,000 kilometers and the 4,000 kilometers with the China and Pakistan respectively. So that this is where we need these things. So the operational requirements to fight the two-front war is basically the 3,000 odd artillery guns are there for us. And and they have a different category also. Like they have a long-range guns of towed variety. They have a self-propelled guns which are on the high mobility vehicles, which is basically the Canine Vajra, and we also have a light Howitzer for difficult mountains and terrains. So these are different types. So the few names that you can remember are basically the DHANUSH. DHANUSH is the one which is indigenously built, the 155mm and 45 caliber long range artillery gun. And so you don't have to go into deep these things because I highly doubt they're gonna ask, but just remember the name. The DHANUSH is the one which is indigenously built. And then we have a Canine Vajra, which is actually the South Korean design through a joint program. And now we are developing with the L&T. So Canine Vajra is there. There's an M777. This is an ultra-light howitzer, a maximum range of 30 kilometers, 4-ton, and it can airlift it easily by the Chinook helicopters. And then we have a SHARANG. The SHARANG is also an indigenously built artillery gun, 155mm. And then we have an ATAG. Now ATAG becomes pretty much important because it was recently developed by the DRDO, and it is basically the 155mm 52 caliber gun. And it is a world's only gun with 6 rounds automated magazine and which can, capable of firing 6 rounds in 30 seconds, and this is amazing. And there is one more thing that you need to remember, is that India's artillery combat command and control system is called Shakti. So maybe sometimes they can ask that what is Shakti? So this is what it is. It's an artillery command system of India. Apart from that, when we talk about the infantry weapon systems, we have AK-203, which is actually advanced version of the AK-47. It's a third generation version, actually upgraded version, 3.5 kg light and something like that. The next one is 6-SOR. 6-SOR is assault rifle. Actually, it is a replacement for what we are currently using, the INSAS. Now INSAS is the older version. Now we will have the 6-SOR for that. Then we have a Carbines also. The Carbines, actually we got it from the UAE, and this is called the CQB also. That is a close quarter battle carbines, what we call. So this is mainly about the infantry systems in India. Apart from that, we'll discuss the rest of the things in the next lecture, right? Okay, see you guys.